Very excited about and one of the panels, Reginald Cole, Reggie, he runs, he's a host of podcast Financial Movements, one of the most top financial podcasts. On the panel, we have Peter Joy from Sean Lee, who's the founder of USS Secretariat. He's also the founder of Anti-Capital. And we have Herbertson, a lot of figure in space, and around for a long time. I've seen him in lots of conferences. He's always a Bitcoin man, so big interest.
Thank you. So your mics, you want to give a check?
Hello.
Okay, great. So yeah, come hang along, sit down. No worries about the turnout. We'll just take it as production. Everything's recorded, so we will produce. So we're good. Okay? Good stuff. So I think the previous panel was a little bit geeky. So all the technical stuff, which is great. But today, this panel, we're going to talk about money stuff. Right, how we're going to profit from this, how we're going to make money. So if you are in the crypto space, you probably have been on the ride. Right? So recently, things ain't that great, but these guys have been around for a while. So they can make their money. So today we can talk a little bit. To begin, I want to start with one question before you introduce this up, right? So I think recently CEO of JP Morgan, right? I think you see what I'm heading to it. Right, so JP Morgan came out about to swing at US Congress, saying like cryptocurrencies is a decentralized Ponzi scheme. Right, so like a clickbaity reply, can you reply to JP Morgan? Anyone?
Reply to JP Morgan. I mean, look, I think what...
This will go on TikTok, JP Morgan, take this.
Look, I think Diamond's done an incredible job building a financial giant, right? It's absolutely no secret that it takes a lot of skill, a lot of kind of expertise, and a lot of hard work to build up a firm as big as JP Morgan. The reality is, though, that when things are good, people flock to it. When things are bad, people run away. It is the most basic human psychological fact in the world. But you even look at Bridgewater, right? When Ray Dalio came out about a year ago at this point, was incredibly bullish on crypto after being very bearish on crypto for the past 5 to 10 years. So I think it's a prime example of kind of the idea that when things are good, people want to get involved with it. People want a part of it. People want to be seen as like opinion and thought leaders. When things are bad, people want to hold the flag and say, I told you so, I told you so. So it's going to be a really consistent thing moving forward. It's almost like opinions on Bitcoin and crypto as a digital asset is going to be just as volatile as the price of Bitcoin in and of itself. But yeah.
It's great. Take that.
That's a good point. I think, in regards to institutional adoption of Bitcoin and digital assets, it's almost a truism right now that there's a lot of money on the sidelines waiting to be deployed. A lot of this had already been deployed, right? So there is a product market fit and a desire and a demand. JP Morgan actually published a report to say that the fair value of Bitcoin is 36,000, right? That was just before sort of the risk-off environment that we saw with rate hikes. So I think it's fair to say that these guys are laughers. And so in this space, perhaps we have to form your own independent judgment on why you're investing in this space. And there's a fundamental way of looking at things from a value perspective, right? Or from a scarcity perspective, and make your bets, right? I mean, short term, we are in a risk-off environment, but look, in the long run, we're here for the reason that Web3 will transform finance. And we are all here because we believe in that future. And I think we're yet to see this get priced in.
Okay, I guess just to end off like all the panelists, what you're saying, to address Jamie directly at JP Morgan, this for you, and people at SEC, maybe you want to look into JPM coin, right? Is it a security? Yeah, I just have to inquire about this, put it on record, for the SEC specifically, like Jerome, Mr. Powell to take a look at this.
Great, and I think we have to be clear that JP Morgan is one of the primary dealers, right? So the traditional finance, they're like the ERP of the US dollar, right? So they make a lot of money from that. I get it why they're talking about this at this moment in time. Okay? So yes, we're going to start off by introducing myself. My name is Reggie. I host the Newcomers podcast, which is the leading personal finance podcast in Singapore. Pretty much don't come in. We really welcome up this space. Okay? So introduce yourself before we continue.
Sure. Hey everyone, it's great to meet you. My name is Peter Choi, and I represent Floating Point Group as the current de facto head of Asia. Real title is General Manager, but who's really counting? I came to Singapore less than a year ago, and it's almost been a year. As of next week, it will be a year. But I came from New York City, where we built the firm and where our global headquarters is. The firm started in 2018 at MIT, and we're really focused on solving two key problems in the industry. One, it's fragmented liquidity for altcoins, right? There's a lot of kind of service providers out there that do OTC trading, but we do it in a form that's agency only. What that means is that we don't trade against you when our clients trade against us. And what we do is align ourselves on trades, meaning that we're simply just offering algorithmic execution across exchanges. This is things like smart order routing. This is things like arbitraging different secondary and tertiary pairs, and ultimately settling everything to the client's needs. So it's really a white glove trading desk. It's really kind of an OTC desk, but not the conventional way. Simply just agency execution, acting as a broker in decentralized exchanges, specifically for altcoins. Now, the second part of our business is interesting. This is a product called Flowvault. Effectively, instead of you having to spend a lot of time doing KYC and onboarding with all these different exchanges and wallet providers, instead of you spending your time whitelisting addresses and then doing test transactions, and then if you're managing a fund, delineating different permissions and responsibilities to different people at your fund for what they can do with that account, we give an out-of-box solution. So effectively, our clients are able to onboard one time with us. We then give them all the accounts at all the major exchanges. They can trade in those accounts, but most importantly, there's a clear UI that shows them where their money is. If it's traveling and in transit between different wallets, then you can see that as well. And ultimately, it gives you a way to do risk management. And like at the end of the day, it eases trading operations and the headaches that surround that.
And I will pay you per user for that?
Sorry.
How do you make money on that?
How do you make money on that? How do I make money on that? Well, yeah, that's a great question. I should ask the founders of the firm. No. Really what it comes down to for me is the ability to have stake in something that's constantly growing, right? At the start of the company, I joined as employee number 2, and today we have about 50 people placed between the US, across the board, and also in Asia, India, and Thailand as well. I think kind of being a part of a story, having equity in a company that continues to grow and acquires new clients, and also thinks really progressively, it's a really rewarding thing, not just kind of on an education level, but also at a capital level as well.
Great, Sherwin.
Hey everyone, my name is Sherwin. I've been in space since 2016. I think my background is in subprime, doing a lot of the legal work there in London. Yeah. So I think securitization and tokenization was quite native to me since 2016, 2017. So this is that I've been running VC firms in the space. One of them being QSN, QCP Soteria, and another being DeFi Capital. I think the thesis that we've been operating on since day one is literally looking for value in the space. And so we adopted the FAT protocol thesis where we look for new layer ones with exponential network growth. And we believe that value will be captured to the native token. Therefore, we have seeded and accelerated projects like Avalanche, Algorand, and these are competitive layer ones. In the DeFi season, in 2018 to 2020, we were also sort of pioneers in a lot of the early DeFi protocols that we saw on Ethereum. And there's a lot of learnings from that, and we see that this evolution will continue to occur in a multi-chain universe, which we are heading to, right? And we're excited to be part of this growth. So we see ourselves as investors first, but builders second. And we typically roll up our sleeves like Y Combinator, and accelerating our projects and making sure that they reach the market in a good way.
So for clarity's sake, you make money like a VC.
Yeah.
So you fund, you grow, you round investors, you exit. Is that how it works?
I think, to be honest with you, in this space, in the crypto space, you cannot, in my perspective, you cannot be a passive VC. It's not the case where you can buy and hold the coin for 9 years and sort of like tell your LPs that we're going through this life cycle of a company, right? No, right? We're investing in fungible currencies, and there is certain properties with this, right? Reflexivity, volatility. So investing in these projects requires more active management throughout the project life cycle, right? And with cryptocurrency, you have the ability to hedge off some of your positions through the perpetuals, for example, or through put options. And so we actively manage our portfolios on that basis.
Hi everyone, it's Herbert Sin here, thebitcoinman.com. So it's
Do you make money through licensing? Do you make money through licensing? Like hashtag BitcoinMan, you trademark all that. I was like, so how does it work? How do you make money? this space for you?
Okay, so I haven't finished my introduction yet. Okay, so I joined the industry in 2010. As you know, Bitcoin founded in 2008. So when I came about this, I was in university on my second year. So I was part of this in Kappa Sigma. You probably know, right? Yeah. So it's a group of computer science fraternity. So everyone was a minor. So I was the only one from the business faculty. So I became like the marketer for these guys to push their Bitcoin, creating an ecosystem with, we were playing some games like RuneScape, Diablo 2, and we were selling like ballistas, like the in-game things for Bitcoin. At that point of time, that was the ecosystem, you know? And also, discreetly, since it's on the record, it's also, for legal marijuana as well at that point of time. So as a student, that was very, very exciting times. So subsequently I joined Blockhead as the head of global operations. I was the one that actually brought them out from Beijing into Singapore in December 2017 during the complete blanket ban. Right? At that point of time, it was, I would say it's entire industry shaking at that point of time because Blockhead had like 70% of the entire world's trading was in China, and Blockhead was holding around 66% of the whole entire trading volume. So that was 850 billion trading volume in 1 year alone. Right? So at that point of time, I was the head of global operations. I brought them out from Beijing to Singapore, and all this was done within 1 day. So we had to pay additional private jet flight to Singapore with a group of employees to continue the operations all within 1 day. Then within that 1 week, we had to fix our appointments with our Deputy Prime Minister Dan Taman, we were like, we're bringing an $850 billion trading volume company. And they earn 0.2% of that, which is $16 billion US. And then government taxes 10%, right? So government earns $1.6 billion in 1 year from that company alone. So do you want this company? So straight away, we were able to do a lot of moves operationally, logistically, and move the company into Singapore. So I guess at that point of time as well, what happened then, if you would remember, Binance just founded. They just started, okay? They just came, Binance and his wife, CC and his wife, right? They actually just left OKX, right? Those who know, those who were around for some time, he was the CTO, and then He was the CMO. They left OKX, and then at the point of time when they just founded, us at OP, we heard about it, we were like, we gotta block them out of Singapore. And that is what we did. So for the first 1 year, if you remember, 2018, they were not in Singapore at all because us at OP, we were blocking them. And then Binance also got blocked out of Japan, Korea, Hong Kong, Taiwan, everywhere. Okay, but Binance was so versatile at that point of time. They went to Zimbabwe, Uganda, right? And then they became, they played with a lot of smaller projects, right? And they made their money, okay? And then they went on to Malta, became $1 billion, went on Forbes, and then suddenly Singapore welcomed them back. That was December 2018. So at that point of time, I left Wobby, and then I went on to cryptology, another Russian crypto exchange. And then next was to Brockhaus, and all along the way, at the Bitcoin Man, we are a venture capital. We keep investing in different projects across the world. Like Sherwin, we take a very active role. It's not just investing, we also help to groom them using the Bitcoin Man. If you're already following me on social media, there's over 1 million followers, and it's blue tick verified Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. So even up to today, there's less than 50 people in the world that's verified on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. In fact, CZ just got it, right? I got it in 2016 in various methods. So the thing now is the industry is actively growing. It's very, very interesting because in 2010, I think less than 1,000 names in the industry. I think everybody knew each other, right? And the thing is, slowly today, my voice has become very quiet these days because there's so much noise thousands upon thousands of different KOLs, industry leaders stepping up. So, and that's a good thing because that means mass adoption is here and it's still coming, right? So back in the day when it's $20 in 2010, today, even at the 20,000, I still think it's really at the bottom. You know, the possibility of hitting $1 million is there. And in fact, at many conferences I speak that by 2030, it will hit $1 million. Okay, but I'll let the speakers join in as well. So this is a brief introduction about myself. If you want to hear more, it's all over my social media as well. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, later we can talk about the case, right? How is it going to do? But for a lot of non-crypto, like outside people, right, traditional markets, when they look at cryptocurrencies, I think the first thing they will point to is the price of Bitcoin, right? Like, so I think my biggest question for a lot of people is it a good barometer of the overall health of the crypto market? Right? Because that's the only thing that goes on mainstream. So how much price of Bitcoin, price of Bitcoin? So is that actually accurate in terms of investor view? How should I look at it?
Okay, well, yeah, it's Bitcoin liquidity, right? It's been pretty much and they call Bitcoin king for a reason, right? And there's huge correlation between Bitcoin as a cryptocurrency and the rest of the other altcoins and Ethereum as well. We look very closely at the ETC pair to see if there's relative outperformance of certain assets such as Ethereum versus Bitcoin, right? But it's hard even to trade those pairs. Ultimately, you know, because of the correlation and the reflexivity that we see in the market, if Bitcoin pumps, for example, you typically see reflexive moves in the other assets as well. And on the downside, you see the same. Now, this is also an opportunity because then, as a rational investor, you look for outperformance or relative outperformance. So recently, for example, the last week, Algorand has been outperforming the market because of certain reasons, right? Fundamental reasons like they upgraded their protocol, they're now at 6,000 TPS. So I think yeah, you're absolutely right. You should look at Bitcoin liquidity as a general barometer of the health of the market and looking at order books, for example, and market depth will show you how much open interest there is on Bitcoin. And that will give you a sort of barometer as to, the relative, the flows in the market, right? And once you establish, a view on how the flows in the market are going in the direction of which, then you can take more sort of bets, right, on the alternative assets to Bitcoin. And so that's how I sort of see this.
Clarity sake, when you say relative, you're talking about relative Bitcoin?
Yeah, relative to Bitcoin. So you find that certain assets are priced against Bitcoin, especially on Binance, where the spot liquidity is thick. So you can see on the graph, obviously, if the R graph's going up, then this asset is outperforming Bitcoin, meaning it's rising up higher than Bitcoin. Otherwise, you also on the downside, if Bitcoin drops and on a relative basis, your altcoins drops a lot more, right? And in the bear market, you should be rotating out of that into Bitcoin actually, because you have a pair that allows you to trade this asset. So I think it behoves the crypto investor to think in Satoshi terms and Gwei terms instead of US dollar terms, because obviously right now the US dollar is parabolic, right? But if you're buying the US dollar right now, you're buying the top, to be honest, right? If you look at the graph, right? So let's think about it more long term, is my view to all crypto investors. You don't have to go all in on the first time. And take a DCA approach, dollar cost average approach. I think that is best. And of course, when investing in assets outside of Bitcoin, make sure you benchmark the performance of the asset with Bitcoin before you buy it.
Sorry. Yeah, I mean, I double click on everything that Sherwin just mentioned, right? Spot on.
That's so easy.
No. Spot on everything you just mentioned. No pun intended. Spot. But I think the key thing here is, take for example, if Floki Inu, a random coin, dies out tomorrow and it completely gets ruined, no one's blinking an eye except for those who hold Floki Inu. If Bitcoin dies tomorrow, we're all freaking out. That's the fundamental difference, right? There is natural value, there's innate value in Bitcoin being kind of this kingpin in this market, I believe, and that's a key indicator of it. I think fundamentally as well, the reason that there's so much correlation happening, you can also attribute that to algorithmic traders too, right? If people are trading Bitcoin, they're buying a bunch of Bitcoin, odds are on the back end, these institutions have algorithms that are running that are buying up everything else along with it, therefore correlation kind of has to exist, and vice versa is true, the opposite as well. So I think there's a lot of kind of pegging to Bitcoin. There's a lot of reference points to Bitcoin. Bitcoin is kind of a relevant factor to everything else in the market as well. If you look at kind of key traditional market indicators like the S&P 500 or other tech stocks, you see that there's pretty decent correlation to Bitcoin too. I think Bitcoin, at the end of the day, whether you like it or you hate it or whatever else, you have to kind of recognize that it does play a large part of the ecosystem, and without it, things can get pretty ugly.
Yep. So I have to say my two panelists here are very smart. They came up with all very smart points already, and being the last one, I have to think of a different, more unique angle, Okay, so I think it's it's quite obvious I'm a Bitcoin maximalist. Okay, like being the Bitcoin man. Now Bitcoin has been around since 2008 until today. It's almost 14 years right now, right? And you have to note that Bitcoin technology was the same 14 years ago and the same today. It has not changed. However, it has proved to be still the kingpin in the industry in terms of tech, right? Like with the regards of Ethereum, that just moved to proof of stake. Look at how the price just vaulted completely, right? And now the thing is, Bitcoin stayed the same and yet still, sustaining and maybe even growing. Now the thing is, the fundamentals is consistently growing. What are the fundamentals? We're talking about the likes of the industry as a whole. It's growing. Okay, we're looking at miners across the world that are entering, the system. We're looking at different governments across the world adopting Bitcoin, and it is only the start. There are 150 over countries in the world, and today I would say maybe only 1/5 has adopted. Right? There's so much more room to grow. The fundamentals is strong and it's still growing. So that's why I hold firm to my belief that by 2030, Bitcoin will hit $1 million. Okay, and now the thing is, all the cryptos that have come in the past decade, okay, even the scam ones, all attributed towards the growth of crypto. Okay, more and more people heard about it. Yes, the scam gave crypto a bad name. Right, the likes of Google, all the search engine, media were all banning it at the start, right, midway. Now the thing is, they started condemning it, but over time, because it has proved, it's gold is tougher than fire, right? True gold is tougher than fire. So now the thing is, now Google, everyone has condemned and say Bitcoin is shit, it's a scam, and it has died thousands of times, right? But look at where Bitcoin is today. It's still surviving, and it's only going to thrive and grow. Okay, so the way I see it is for long-term investors, you want to make money, invest in Bitcoin, right? If you want fast money, then it comes with high risk, which is, you can look at the other cryptocurrencies. But for me, where I stand as a Bitcoin maximalist, hodl your Bitcoin.
And to be fair, I think Bitcoin at this point in time is really a long way missing out to get the kind of stuff, right? But you guys talk about fundamentals, so in my head is like, what fundamentals, right? What do you look out for when you say like, oh, Bitcoin is here to stay, or we're going to keep growing? What fundamentals?
Okay, fundamentals, I guess a decade ago, when I was heading Huobi as the Global Operations Director back then, we came up with a 72 checklist, right? Step checklist on how to actually vet a project. Okay, we are looking at things like, the founders, what their track record. What is their education background? Have they done any successful raise in the past, be it in the traditional world or crypto world? Right, that's one. And two, how's the team like? What's the marketing? Like goals up ahead. Like Sherwin was mentioning about Algorand, right? Talking about the tech itself. Is it layer 1, layer 2? What is it, right? What is the value add? And most importantly, what is the use case? Okay, so these are some of the main things to look up for in any project before you actually invest in. Now, talking about the fundamentals of Bitcoin itself, I think it's quite obvious. I'll lay it out for all the laymen, right? One thing for sure is Bitcoin is a store of energy. What kind of energy? I'm talking about not just the physical energy from your power station and all that is used to mine the Bitcoin. Okay, talking about all the computers, the hardware, all the computer mining software and all that's used to mine Bitcoin. Okay, and also the energy coming from all the human beings that are all working on this industry together as a whole, right? Like all of you here, sitting here and listening today, that is also energy in a way, contributing to the whole entire, energy of crypto itself. Okay, we have people like across the world that are looking into the industry in different angles, right? Even academics right at the start that were looking into crypto and studying it, how it actually benefits the society and more. All this is energy, and all this is the fundamentals of what cryptocurrency is.
Okay. But I think at this point in time, crypto has grown beyond like an enthusiast, right? Like a group of people that really believe in it. There's a lot of hot money flowing in and out, trying to make momentum. And recently there's just been quite a big crash across the board, all the asset classes, right? And I think we can kind of talk about interest rates moving up, so risk-free returns have moved up. So relative to that, prices is going to come down. But all the fundamental discussion must not fundamentally say, money's going to come back in. Because we're just really growing the ecosystem at the base level. How is money going to come back in? Any thoughts? What do you foresee? How money flowing back? You got to recapitalize the market, right?
Look, I mean, if I knew when and how money was going to come back in, I would not be sitting here. I'd be at my computer ready to make a massive leverage trade, right? The reality is that, I think we all understand that it will come. The question is in what vehicle and when it's going to come, right? Going back to that fundamental question, the very first question of Jamie Dimon and JP Morgan, I think it's a good example, again, that shows traditional institutions, we always talk about, are they coming? The reality is they're already here. Maybe not in the full blast capacity that we kind of wanted to be in the final state, but they're already here, they're already on the sidelines kind of waiting to deploy their capital, or they've already deployed their capital and are very heavily involved in build-outs of different types of technologies. Again, I think something that's really interesting, two notes on this. One, crypto is an incredibly momentum-driven market still. Whether direction you're going up or down, there needs to kind of be a big event in the market that happens in order for it to push that way. So, obviously the past couple of months, we saw kind of contagions after contagion of different 3AC things, the Luna stablecoin fallout, and everything else kind of along that periphery, with Voyager, Celsius, et cetera, to go on and on. So that's kind of like a cataclysmic event that pushed the market downwards. I don't know what exactly is going to start pushing the momentum up, but I do sincerely believe that crypto markets still, at this point in stage, do require a kind of, pardon my French, kick in the ass, right? Something needs to come, something needs to start driving that thing forward, and once that momentum starts coming, it's kind of that conventional idea of cycles and how they work. But we'll get there. Matter of how and when, unsure. The second point on this, though, I think I want to talk about taking the money out of it and talk about the humans behind this. Herbert kind of clearly noted about how many different people, different communities are coming together to build on Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, blockchain technologies. I think something really interesting to note is that in 2020, there was about 6,000 to 7,000 people working in so-called crypto worldwide. Fidelity Investments themselves have 25,000 employees globally. That's a crazy concept to think about, to say one company in finance has about 4 to 5 times more people than the entirety of people working on a technology. That was 2020, and things have changed now, but that's the point, right? Where we're not just saying people come in for coming in sake, people want to come in because they want to contribute. People come in because they see value. And again, this kind of does have to go back to the market prices and how things work, but just because market prices are going down doesn't mean people are running down.
I will argue against that. Yeah. If money moves, people are going to leave. There's a lot of hot capital in and out, not just talent and any other things, right? So I get your position, right? But I just want to hear more like, when is money going to come back, right?
I do agree. I think it's kind of twofold though, right? One, it's that companies don't have that much money right now, so they inevitably have to lay people off. It's not that people are necessarily choosing to be fired or choosing to run away the other way. They join because they believe in something, and now they don't have that opportunity because it's more like a corporate decision type thing that goes on. But I do agree, right? It makes it incredibly difficult for the environment. The second part about this is that's kind of the beauty of finance. It's the beauty of markets in general, right? Competition breeds quality. I do think that, if people do run away, we're weeding out, I'm sorry to say it like this, but the people who weren't going to be here to stay for the long run.
Sure, then.
question is, when will the money come
Oh,
back in?
yeah. When's the money gonna happen? Like,
Well,
what do you think of this space?
I have a very nuanced view on this. I think institutions are actually our exit liquidity because the reality is institutions tend to leap in at the top and sell the bottom for sort of risk mitigation. So it's not exactly true that they are the vultures in this space. Of course, the VCs really are perhaps the more toxic liquidity because they have supply, right? But ultimately, we find that the institutions came into the space, they ate in at the top, and they were over leveraged. And really, the retail investor bore the brunt of that now. And that's where we're at. How do we evolve from here? The institutions have to have better risk control, better risk management. We need to have really sensible adults in the room in some of these hedge funds and NFT funds and all that. And I think that will happen because now we see that institutions are reconciling their balance sheets and sort of licking their wounds. And I think this sort of the degen environment that we had over the last 2 years will sort of dissipate. Now we go back to fundamentals and I think this is positive and healthy, right? So when does the money come back in? Answer is seasonal. The reality is, if you look at the history of crypto, we've gone through a few bear cycles now, and it comes in seasons, right? And it's very hard to sort of time the market here, but it's something that we are betting on, simply because of the policies of central banks out there. And I implore all of you to read the Satoshi white paper here, and the reason and the principles of sound money are very well encapsulated in Bitcoin. And to be honest, I find it more so in Ethereum as well. If network continues to grow and transactions come back again, I think we have a very strong proposition for the soundest money on the planet that is truly inflation, right? So, and so what are we betting on? Right? We are betting that the liquidity will come back. So we shouldn't be investing when the liquidity is back, because then you become exit liquidity for me.
Okay, so I guess I need to give economics 101 as well. For something I'm very sure at least 50% of the people in the room will know. When the stock market prices go down, okay, or crypto prices go down, do the money go out? Where does it go to? Okay, it actually disappears. Google it, it's on Investopedia, it's everywhere. Okay, so now the thing is, when people market fear, right? When it fights, people sell, where does the money go? It disappears. So now you say the money is, when does it come back? Now the thing is, the money disappeared, right? So how?
There's $4 trillion sitting in money market funds today.
So now the thing is, US government has printed 80% in the last 2 years of the entire world circulation of money. Okay, where did they get this money print out from? Because the market money actually disappears, giving them the right to print again, to flood the market with it, right? So now the thing is, if people are getting smart, okay, it's wokeism, right? In America, they're talking about being woke, right? So now wokeism, I'm trying to wake everybody up. When the market fights, money disappears. What if it doesn't fight? What if it always falls, right? The price can only always increases. Okay, now I kind of digress. Okay, so my main point here is December 2017, right? When I mentioned earlier when Bitcoin was at its peak at 20,000 US dollars, then from 1,000 it shot to 20,000 in less than a month. Okay, and the thing is, if you follow traffic, you follow where the money came from. Now, I'd like to throw this question to the audience actually. Does anyone know which was the most highly trafficked website in the world in December 2017? Make a guess, someone. Okay, most frequent guesses would be CoinDesk, Cointelegraph, okay, Whoopee, OKX, the biggest exchanges there. No. Okay, not even CoinMarketCap. So you combine all of those that you mentioned, the top 10, right? And it still lose to this one website in the world. It's called freebitco.in. Okay, just to allude to that, okay? So at that point of time, the word Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, crypto, blockchain were all banned from Google. Okay, they're banned from all the search engines, all the media. So how are marketers at the point of time trying to market crypto? Right? So there's this one guy that went outside the box and managed to find a way, a loophole. And I really salute that guy because he's very smart. He was the one that helped Bitcoin, had made that 1,000 or 20,000 jump, and I actually attribute that to him. follow the traffic. You invested in nascent analytics, you probably know. Now the thing is, at the point of time, freebitcoin.in is called a Bitcoin faucet. What is a faucet? Okay, faucet basically gives out free Bitcoin. Now the thing is, who doesn't want free money? And it's real, if you go to the website, they are still giving out Bitcoin today. But how do they afford that, right? So basically, they are the intermediaries, kind of promotional guys for crypto casinos. So for every sign up, $200, they give out free Bitcoin, right? So obviously, the house always wins as well. Okay, so at that point of time, it was all the Bitcoin faucet, freebitcoin.in was pushing out all the traffic towards Satoshi Dice. Have you heard of this? Okay, so Satoshi Dice was owned by Eric Voorhees and Roger Ver. You probably heard of them as well. Roger Ver is Bitcoin Cash. Eric Voorhees is ShapeShift founder, one of the OGs as well since 2013. Now the thing is, at that point of time, if you track the traffic exactly, that's where the money was coming from. And the traffic was pouring out from porn sites. Okay, yes. The porn sites pouring into free Bitcoin faucets and then into Bitcoin casinos, and Bitcoin casinos pouring back into the crypto exchanges. Now, if you see the whole entire flow, you know where the money came from. Now, the thing is, at that very point of time, Wall Street, US, suddenly got alerted. Bitcoin shot up from 1,000 to 20,000. Everybody got excited, right? That's when the Wall Street boys who think they're so smart, the institution boys, right? Like Jamie Dimon. Okay, so he came in and then they bought Bitcoin. He launched JPM Coin. Look into that SEC. Okay, so when so now the thing is, when they came in to buy, they did not expect Bitcoin to drop from $20,000 to $4,000, and it stuck there for a good 2 years. Okay, why? Because Wall Street doesn't know how to play pawn traffic. They don't know how to play casino traffic and making money from casino. So what happened in the past 2 to 3 years? Okay, all the institutional boys, VCs, were playing their markets. People are doing Ponzi schemes. But what is happening is actually the crypto casino world, right? It's very hush-hush. People don't talk about it on media at all. Because why? It's casino, right? It's like the grade. People don't really talk about it. But if you know about it, and that is where actually the money is coming from. So that's the answer to the question, how the money can actually come back.
Interesting. Okay. We are short of time, so one last question. Really good stuff. A lot of good options. Anyways, one last question. In the market today, what are you doing? What are you looking at? What opportunities are you working with?
I mean, look, I'm not overcomplicated. I believe in technology. I believe in its value. I believe in its application. I'm dollar cost averaging different things, whether it be Bitcoin, whether it be Ethereum, whether it be other L1s. I'm bullish on them all for the time being. Now, I don't believe that the thousands and thousands and thousands of different assets that exist today are going to survive 10 years from now. Absolutely not. But the fundamental ones that are being built on, the fundamental ones that have fundamentals, and the ones that are really market leaders, I do believe there is genuine impact that they can have in the future of not just technology itself, but society and the way that people build and behave and live everyday life. I think at its core, my background comes from US politics, so I apologize for how shitty our political system is. I fully admit it. But the thing I learned there is that whenever you talk about vulnerable economies, whenever you talk about populations that don't have stable governments, Bitcoin and the value that it derives is absolutely innate, right? It is intimate in its relationship with the people who have money that they can rely on when they wake up the next day, then it's going to have the same value, right? You look at a lot of countries in South America, whether it be Venezuela, whether it be Colombia, whether it be El Salvador, who actually, obviously is involved with Bitcoin very deeply. I do believe in the freedom that Bitcoin brings. I do believe in the kind of value that it has in everyday people's lives. And whether that be from a technological perspective, whether it be from an everyday human perspective, I do believe that there is genuine value in it. Therefore, I'm just going to continue dollar cost averaging and not get overcomplicated about, technical analysis and all the crazy things.
Thank you.
Well, I mean, it's a difficult time to invest. I think a lot of family offices that I'm speaking to are pretty much risk off and taking a wait and see approach. But what I will say is this, right? We had a very greenfield opportunity here to place selective bets on the winners in the next sort of bull cycle, right? And so we still remain long Bitcoin and ETH as core positions, but we are also looking very closely at the development of alternative layer ones and the technologies that they bring forth to the space, from Avalanche to Algorand to Oasis Network. These are all created by the top performers of the US, MIT, Cornell, Berkeley. You can't get any better than that, right? So we place bets on the top people in the space. And on the application side, we've always been bullish on derivatives and how the derivatives market today is a fraction of the spot market. And so we see the exponential growth in the derivatives market 100-fold, right? And what bets are we placing there? We are building out a protocol to provide structured products the DeFi way across multiple chains with Ethernuts. We are pioneers in the DeFi option bond space, and we would love to sort of work with any of you guys who are interested in crypto derivatives to promote this, provide good education for this. And that's where we see the alpha for the next 24 months.
Thank you. So what Darius from QCP as well as Sherwin has achieved in the past couple of years is very, very impressive. I'm actually very proud of this. They put Singapore on the world map. Yeah. So go check them out. What they're doing. It's really revolutionary as well. Highly commendable. Now the thing is, for me, back to the topic on fundamentals, right? To address it quickly, look up projects that have iGaming fundamental to it. What do I mean by iGaming? It's just a nicer term of online gambling and sports betting. Okay. Now the thing is, while the institution boys frown on it, now the thing is, any projects that actually have this as part of their ecosystem, do your own due diligence. Okay. Any projects so far in the past 10 years have all survived. Okay, I'm going to name drop some, right? Like Tron, Ethereum, Bitcoin, right? Yeah, correct. So many, even Crypto.com. Okay, there's more. Okay, so now the thing is, those who have all survived up to today and flourish. So now the thing is, what I'm trying to say now is, it's specifically to the institution boys as well. If you want to invest in a project, look at their ecosystem. How are they growing it? What kind of games are effectively bringing the money into the market? Yeah, so this is what I mean by fundamentals.
Great, thank you. Can we give Alice a round of applause?